let's just say, one of the most humbling moments of my childhood. I got bitch slapped by a
Are
monkey.
you ready now?
I'm not trying to
Be
be
my
funny.
queen, yes,
I'm telling you
love.
that thing absolutely
All
out of
you
nowhere.
need,
It
that
just
anything you
smacked.
want, my
Literally,
girl.
it
Anywhere you
hurt.
want,
I
my
couldn't
girl.
believe it. So I take off and I'm screaming and I'm like, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Wine and Uncork Chronicles podcast with your host, me, Sylvie. You already know me, but what we do on this podcast, we rhyme, we sing, we tell stories, maybe. Anyway, I'm your host, Sylvie. Welcome back. And today we're talking about, let's just say, one of the most humbling moments of my childhood. Now, I'm going to set the scene in a bit, but let's just say, to start with, it wasn't heartbreak. It wasn't failure, because as a child, you really care about failure. I didn't, for sure. Not getting rejected. I was only 8 years old. Who's rejecting me at that point in time, right? Now, here's what happened. I got bitch slapped by a monkey. I'm not trying to be funny. Some people might even say that's borderline racist, but I have witnesses. Those witnesses might not remember it to the specificity that I do. However, yeah, the irony, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's really funny because my whole life, and you run away from all these things when people imagine Africa. I'm going there. I'm sorry, but I have to. You know, they imagine you're just casually interacting with wildlife until you actually go to Africa, which is a country. Yeah, chilling with these giraffes and lions like every Tuesday. So you can imagine that that doesn't really help this narrative at all. People would be asking, oh, do you have lions in your backyard, or did you ride a giraffe to get to school? Just no, I don't. But in this situation, the sink there or link there is that yes, I got humbled by wildlife. You know, a lot of us Kenyans, we just live incredibly normal lives. We just go on about our lives, trying to do the grind, trying to do the hustle, going on. But the only difference is sometimes these animals, they choose violence. And, they always target children. That's just the bottom line. So let's set the scene. Let's set the scene. Now I'm gonna cue in some Banya music. No, I'm not. I was about 8 years old. Of course, at the time I was living in Kisumu. Not, of course, I don't know. You would probably never know that. You probably just never pay attention. But yeah, I mean, you're 8. I was 8. Life is fantastic. There's no responsibilities. There's no bills. There's no mortgage. The most important decision that you had to do or make, no emails. Yeah, that's another one. The most important decision that is on you to make is Sunset Hotel or Nyanza Club. Do I do a cannonball in the pool? Do I dive? Do I show off? Because, I could dive. Most people my age couldn't swim. Anyway, and of course, trying to look cool, doing backflips, good times, good times, or to be young. Now, if any of you have ever been to Kisumu, you'll probably know Sunset Hotel, or at least, let's just say, people of my generation, 90s baby, millennials. It's an absolute classic. It's a landmark, right? When you look through the kind of like, through the hotel, you have this beautiful, beautiful view of Lake Victoria, right? And it is really perfect. And it's a perfect spot that they chose to call Sunset Hotel because the sunsets really are unreal. Lake Victoria. And of course, Kenya being Kenya, green everywhere. It's incredibly lush, you hear the sound of water going through. It had a very old school Kenyan charm to it where, every family kind of celebrated like a birthday at least once there, which meant on a Saturday, that place was jam packed, rammed to the rafters. It wasn't a hotel. It was a hotel. It wasn't Disneyland, but it had a swimming pool. So let's just stay there. So anyway, yeah, Saturday, my parents and I, well, okay, let me backtrack. Let me take it a bit slow. I don't know why I'm rushing. Every kid knows this Saturday excitement where you're told you're going to the pool, we're going swimming. And in Kisumu, to be fair, that was really the only thing you can actually do. That's it. You are screaming. You are putting on your swimming costume. You've already mentally left the house. You're like, man, I'm in that water. Kisumu is always hot. Anyway, so it's absolutely perfect. So Yeah, you're just like already in the water. You're wearing your tiny little costume. Half a butt cheek is out because the costume doesn't really fit well, or it's just always somehow the girls' costumes were always had like fully riding up in your butt. I'm sorry. Anyway, we finally leave the house. We get there. It's me and my bro, and then friends are there. So family friends of my parents. They had two sons as well. If you guys are listening, you know who you are. Anyway, the parents decide, yeah, we already changed into our costumes. So they're chatting away. They go and situate themselves somewhere and they're sitting. You know how, I don't know, African adults, they always find another adult they somehow know, somehow from school. Anyway, that's the kind of childhood that I had. That's Kenya. That's just the feeling. You will go somewhere and you'll meet somebody who your parents are like, oh my God, it's been 20 years. You could travel like 5,000 kilometers and your parents will somehow meet someone that they knew in primary school. And that's just the reality. Anyway, meanwhile, the kids, we've disappeared, gone. Time for a swig. I'm going to talk about that wine in a bit. Pinot Noir. Perfect summer red. Anyway, gone straight to the pool. Now, from what I remember, this pool had like slightly different levels. So, like on the top level, we had like the baby pool, uh, always warm. Yeah, it was always really warm. I don't know what y'all are gonna say or think about that, but like it was like jacuzzi warm. And that was not a jacuzzi because the adult pool, which was just kind of adjacent to it, connected to it, was very cool in comparison. So what does that mean? On a Saturday where half the city is there, of course you know what every child is doing in there. It's like I'm gonna take a pee. I think there's even one time someone took a shit. Kaka. Anyway, I choose ignorance. I choose ignorance, even though I know, you know. Um, God works in mysterious ways. Let's leave it there. So anyway, yeah, we're at the pool, pushing water in each other's faces, getting into the groove, swimming, back flips, front flips, drinking water, nearly puking from coughing, nearly like can't hyperventilate. There's always one kid who jumps in who can't even swim into the deep end. Then the lifeguard has to come. He can barely swim himself. So he's like trying to save himself while saving this kid. Anyway, the pool, there were some bars that were separating the little kid pool from the adult pool. And instead of walking out, right, and going out around, we had this game where you would squeeze through the bars, which are, of course, underwater, for you to get to the kiddie pool, to the adult pool. Because if they're dangerous options, children will find it. Who told you to make the pool like that? It's a complete hazard. Children are there putting their heads in, seeing if they can fit. Honestly, it's incredibly dangerous. So anyway, hours go by. You're just swimming and running around the pool, screaming. And for hours, that's just what we are doing. Jumping in, jumping out. As I've said, backflips. Man, you've probably puked out like you've drank all that chlorine. Honestly, it can't be good. Probably the side effects will show later in life. Anyway, I think ultimately, naturally our complete adrenaline rush starts to come down. And what happens when you've been swimming and moving around for hours, you've burnt calories for days, you are hungry. The parents are already on it because they know what their children are like, right? They've already pre-ordered a plate of fresh out the fire, soggy ass chips. Yeah, with tomato sauce, not ketchup, tomato sauce. That red one, the one that is literally chemicals with a red dye, with a hint of tomato smell. And yeah, you know, there you are. You're served best bloody things. When you've been just burning calories, you're annoyed now. You're starting to get into fights because, that guy pushed you, that little kid with the big tummy pushed you, and then you get out and you're like, okay, you know what, there's chips on the table. They call you, there's a Sprite, Fanta, Coke. Anyway, the thing is, you look at those chips and then you just start devouring them. Anyway, parents, they know what they're doing. They've seen the pattern. They know exactly what everything is about. So you just getting out, you're just trying to, of course, you sit down on the kids' table. Of course, you're separated and you guys have your own banter, which you think is so much funnier than theirs because yours is, of course, kiddie banter. So anyway, for at least 20 minutes, we're devouring, not 20 because the food would have been done by then. Let's just say like 5 to 10 minutes into into this whole episode, the story changes because Sunset Hotel has monkeys. That's right. Blue velvet monkeys. The ones with the tiny little blue balls, because they ain't never get none. Not one monkey, right? Not a cute monkey. Not a monkey in a fucking zoo. Wild. Like there's literally people who are paid to chase them away, like with a slingshot. Blue velvet monkeys, those ones, nuisance. Well, technically we're actually in, we've kind of encroached in their territory. And it's not the best thing. But basically, let's just say that the rats of the trees. Nobody likes them. They steal your food. They obviously don't pay rent, right? Land taxes and all that. They obviously don't have jobs except being a thief. Yet somehow they always find a way to, they know who to isolate. So they'll never go for like the men. They'll always go for either like women or children. They have all the confidence in the world. They do not fear consequences. They don't know what consequences are. I mean, they're living to survive. This is easy food from a tiny little thing. Now, you can imagine what happens next. These tourists know that the tourists, wow. No, we're not going there. That is not racist. Anyway, here's what happens next. So, I think when these kind of things happen, you never really think it's real. You just feel this presence. And suddenly, this monkey just jumps and appears out of nowhere, is on our table and starts grabbing for things. So naturally, we all get up screaming, running, and the next thing, I think maybe I did deserve this when I really think about it. The next thing, this monk, I've gone back because I'm like, my fries, So I was there trying to be a hero. My brother, our two friends, they're watching all of this. They're watching all of this unfold. I go back to try and grab my chips. The next thing, this guy, and I'm calling it a guy because that slap was not of a monkey's hand size. That was a grown adult hand on my back. I'm telling you, that thing absolutely out of nowhere, it just smacks. Da! I'm like, like literally, it hurt. I couldn't believe it. So I take off and I'm screaming and I'm like, I'm screaming to my mom. And I'm like, that monkey slapped me. And of course, at that point, my parents just think I'm being dramatic. But no, my brother saw it. My brother is in the corner over there with, I'm the only girl, laughing, dying of laughter. Rightfully so, because I would have genuinely laughed at myself if I could have witnessed that. This is when you honestly start to hope and wish that you had, like, I don't know, phone on demand that you can just take a recording of. But yeah, absolutely insane, right? That me trying to be a hero lands me a bitch slap from a monkey. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I should have just accepted defeat. I should have just run. I should have, just conceded. But that's the thing about me. I don't give up. Yeah, I don't give up. I keep going. I keep it stepping. And anyway, I hope that monkey lived a very long life. I'm sure it's, gone to meet the Lord now. Fuck around and find out. Anyway, honestly, sometimes I do worry about, my ability to simply just do a podcast on my own, talk to you, right, as the parasocial relationship that I have with you, and the fact that I can talk nonstop for an hour, which, if you really know me, I mean, I think it depends on who I'm with. Maybe in my own company, I really just do entertain myself. But yeah, there we are. That's how your girl got bitch slapped by a monkey. Now what? Anyway, I'll see you on the next segment where we're going to be talking about Mr. P. Pinot Noir. See you in a bit. So you were Mr. P. Interesting. Not Mr. Pinot, not Professor Pinot Noir, just Mr. P knows. And apparently, Noir. Do you know Noir? Or is this one of those things where you've put it on your CV and nobody's ever checked? Because that's a bold claim. Imagine if I introduced myself like that. Hey, I'm Sylvia. I know everything. People would have questions. And today, I'm those people. So let's start simple. I'm going to address you as I'm addressing him. Who is Mr. P? What does he know? Nothing? That's what I thought. I think you're one of those mysterious types. The kind of person who says, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. Relax. You're a bottle of wine. The only way you're going to kill me is if I don't have self control. But hey, let's see what you've got. Cherry? Maybe. Raspberry? Maybe. A little earthy? Maybe so. Interesting. That doesn't really answer my question, though. What do you know? Because I have a list. Do you know every Tupperware that has somehow lost its lid? Do you know where my left sock goes once it goes into the washing machine? Do you know why every supermarket has 18 checkout lanes but only one open? Do you know why printers can see? You walk into a room all confident, press print, and then suddenly the printer is like, paper jam. There is no paper jam, Mr. Printer. You're just dramatic. Mr. P, you know why this happens, don't you? I knew it. You're protecting them. You're protecting them. Hold on. That's actually really good. Raspberries, berries, earthy. No. Don't smile. That changes absolutely nothing. I'm still investigating you. You can be delicious, maybe suspicious. Those things are not mutually exclusive. Another question. Do you know why people always reply, sounds good, and then never actually make plans? Do you know who invited reply all? The person owes society an apology. Do you know who keeps liking my Instagram pictures from 2019? That's weird, Mr. P. That's very weird. I bet you know who it is, right? I'm beginning to understand. You're not loud. You're also not trying to impress me. You're just confident. The kind of confidence that only comes from actually knowing what you're doing. I respect that. Still annoying though. Because I came here prepared. I had jokes, I had insults, I had an entire speech about how your name was overconfident. I was going to tell everyone, I am telling everyone, what Mr. P doesn't know, Noir. Mr. P barely knows where he left his car keys, but now you're making me look foolish, which frankly, rude. Very rude. Can I ask you something? Have you always known Noir or did you study? Did you spend years in a vineyard? Did you travel? Did you meditate under an oak barrel, maybe? Did an old French winemaker appear one day and whisper, the secret is balance? You're not going to tell me. Of course you're not. You have the energy of someone who knows exactly how the pyramids were built and chooses violence by saying, Google it. You know where Atlanta is. You know what's in Coca Cola. You know why airline seats don't recline at the same speed. You know who keeps telling the office teaspoons? What the hell am I even saying? You know. You know why avocados make guacamole. There's no in between. You don't even pretend you don't know. Let's see. That's the problem. Every time I try to interrogate you, you distract me. That's a clever tactic because you know you're like those people who bring snacks to difficult conversations. Suddenly, everyone's forgotten that they were angry about. You know what I think? I don't think you know everything, actually. I think you've just figured out that the rest of us don't know anything. No need to shout. You don't need to show off. Come on, you don't need to be the biggest, boldest wine on the shelf. You just do your thing quietly, don't you, Mr. P? No. That's confidence, not arrogance. Confidence. Well, well played, Mr. P. Well played. I came here expecting to expose a fraud. Instead, I spent the last 5 minutes exposing myself. Turns out, you really do know Noir. You are Mr. Pinot Noir. And honestly, that's enough for me. Although, if you happen to know, next week's lottery numbers, or who's been stealing my Tupperware, or how do you find a way to fold a fitted sheet? Well, I'll be here waiting for those answers, Mr. P. No. It's worth asking, Yeah. Cheers, Mr. P. Here's for keeping the secrets. You've earned them. Mr. P knows. Okay, guys, and that's it for today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. Now you know that Mr. P knows, and you know that a girl got bitch slapped by a monkey on her back when she was 8 years old. So go tell your friends, go tell your family, go tell it on the mountain. I don't care. Just love, love, love. It's been real. Wine and Encore Chronicles out.
Last night was fabulous.